Kristi Noem is in hot water right now in the press for good reason, obviously. The death toll in Texas is now over 120, 160 still missing. It's just horrible. And CNN is now reporting that Kristi Noem, former governor of South Dakota, she oversees FEMA as a part of her role as Homeland Security head. She implemented this rule that any grant that is over $100,000, which for the federal government is a significant majority of the grants, requires her personal sign-off. And that number is so infinitesimal and small when we're talking about the federal government that it's almost difficult to even comprehend that that's the threshold that they set it at.
You can't even hire, that's like one employee.
It's stunning. It's meant not to be some way to cut back on wasteful spending, as they'll frame it. It's a way to slow the government down to a halt so that it actually just cannot function anymore, which is what Republicans want.
Yeah, they say they're against bureaucracy, but actually they love it when they can impose austerity with it.
Including these Medicaid cuts, it is much cheaper to just keep people with their health care, the 17 million people that are going to lose their health care because of this horrific bill. It's cheaper to keep people on their health care than it is going to be to implement the work requirements that they say are now necessary. And kicking people off is costly in and of itself. This is about immiseration. This is about increasing the desperation of a population so that capitalists can have more leverage over them. It's the same thing when we're talking about immigration. If you're afraid of deportation, you are more likely to be an employee that shuts up and says nothing about harassment or wage theft, what have you. It's the same thing with Medicaid, which is not a cash payment. It is health insurance. You can't pawn your Medicaid card for cash or drugs or whatever they're talking about, just the same as you can't pawn your Anthem or your United Healthcare card when you get it from a private insurer. So I'm a bit afield of what we want to talk about here, but it's just all a part of the same thing. And like the National Weather Service reports are indicating that it largely did its job. They did send out alerts, even with the vacancies and the austerity. It's a testament to these career bureaucrats that the Republicans hate, that they're able to even function. Our agencies are even able to function with the amount of disruption that has occurred.
And for now.
Right, for now. And even still, the federal government, as I'm about to, as I'm discussing here with Kristi Noem, is completely a part of the failure and a huge reason why the response time has been so poor. But it's also the local Republican Party in Texas. County records basically show that Kerr County, this area of Texas that is frequently affected by flooding, asked the state government in Texas in 2017 for $1 million in a federal grant that would be for hazard mitigation, and they were denied that. Again, $1 million for a big state like Texas is nothing. They asked again in 2018 after Hurricane Harvey, and then that request is denied. Just $1 million from the state of Texas.
That's good old-fashioned GOP Reaganism for you.
Austerity. But back to Kristi Noem here. Here she is this morning on Fox and Friends, and they ask her about that CNN report showing that the response was delayed by 72 hours because of this stupid rule that she had to personally sign off on anything over $100,000. Here's her response.
At that point, CNN is basically got a report accusing you of slowing the process. Yeah. Would you like to respond to that?
Well, there you go. Fake news. CNN, again, is absolutely trash what they are doing by saying that, because our Coast Guard, our Border Patrol, BORTAC teams were there immediately. Every single thing I was on, they asked for, we were there. The governor and the emergency management director, Nim Kidd, are fantastic. And nobody there has said anything about that they didn't get everything that they wanted immediately or that they needed. And I'm proud of the work that we've done to support that. But, we've got flooding going on in New Mexico as well, North Carolina. So I've been visiting with their leadership team and spent quite a bit of time on the phone yesterday with the New Mexico governor, getting them resources as well. And that's what we do. And the fact that CNN is continuing to be political and push out fake information and false information and lies is not shocking, but it's a disservice to the country. It's a real disservice to the country because people start to mistrust anything that comes out then over the news. And then, well, that's true.
Yeah.
But they just don't trust anybody anymore. And that's not the kind of country.
Certainly we are praying.
Certainly we're praying.
I mean, come on. That wasn't a denial, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that.
She went straight to the first responders. She ran directly behind them.
Just like Trump just did with Epstein, right?
Yeah.
When he was being cornered about the Epstein cover-up, he was like, won't you think of the children?
We got Texas.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about Donald Trump's humanitarian impulses. I didn't mean to take the focus away from that. He was acting like Bernie Sanders when they tried to get him to talk about some drama, and he's like, I want to focus on the real issues affecting the American public here, okay?
It's true. They go back to their stump speech, and their stump speech is actually everyone's lying to you except me, and don't trust anything you hear from the media.
Right. But it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to avoid this for this long, especially as it keeps going, and they can't just throw Biden's name out there, which is Trump's latest tactic. This is under his watch, and he's supposed to be the strong man across all of this, but yet passing the buck is what he does best. Drop Site 2 days ago, Ryan Graham, Jessica Burbank had an article here that I think is quite relevant, where you see how DHS is being run and what their priorities are. FEMA falls under the Department of Homeland Security, but they're a little bit more concerned about funding the concentration camps that they're building down in Florida, specifically Alligator Alcatraz. The Drop Site reports the federal detention facility in Florida, officially named Alligator Alcatraz, is only the beginning when it comes to FEMA money being used to fund ICE operations, according to a source within the federal agency. The new program, dubbed the ICE Grant by FEMA employees, means that millions in grant funds intended for shelters and facilities for non-citizen migrants may now be redirected toward detention centers and whatever else ICE decides. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said in a statement to the Associated Press on June 25th that the detention facility in Florida, quote, will be funded in large part by the Shelter and Services Program within the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The Alligator Alcatraz facility will cost $245 per bed daily, or $450 million per year, one U.S. official told the AP. But
Boondoggle. Internal
FEMA documents, however, put the total grant awarded to the Florida Division of Emergency Management at $608 million. So just let's sit with that for 1 second. Kristi Noem waited 72 hours to approve necessary disaster responses because of this automatic rule that they put in place. That means that if it's any expenditure or grant over $100,000, that she needs her personal sign off. Now, the best case scenario is that because of the rule she put in place here, she didn't understand the urgency of the request, and there might have been a backlog of requests, because that's basically every grant request that she would ever receive would be subjected to that threshold. That's the best case scenario, is that she missed it. The worst case scenario is that this is what's happening, is that essentially FEMA and their resources are being wholly allocated to the concentration and torture of migrants. I put this in sound. I'm not sure. This is a bit of an aside. We may not have it, actually, and that's okay. But maybe later in the show, we'll play this report out of Florida. That I don't think we have it, but it's not necessary, really. It's just there was calls made. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Maybe let's play a little bit of this because the first few minutes show what this facility actually is like. And you hear that they were able, this local news, CBS in Miami, was able to speak to people on the phone from within the facility, and they gave their testimony as to actually what's happening there.
And now at 10 tonight, concerns over conditions at Alligator Alcatraz. And tonight, for the first time, we are hearing from detainees actually inside the immigration detention facility, deep in the Florida Everglades. Good evening, I'm Jim Barry. A popular Cuban reggaeton artist is among several people describing the conditions there as inhumane. CBS's Miami's Anna McAllister joins us live from the jail in West Miami-Dade, where the artist was first held before being transferred. So Anna, what is being said tonight?
Jim, this musician and the other detainees tell us that they're being treated like animals. They say they haven't bathed in days, and one man says the food that they were served was infested with maggots.
You're charged with aggravated assault with deadly weapon and battery.
Last week, Cuban reggaeton artist Liamzi Izquierdo, known as La Figura, faced a judge following an aggravated assault that happened in Miami-Dade. According to La Figura's girlfriend, she received a call from him this morning from Alligator Alcatraz.
I am Leamsi La Figura. We've been here at Alcatraz since Friday. There's over 400 people here. There's no water to take a bath. It's been 4 days since I've taken a bath.
La Figura goes on to talk about what he says are the horrific living conditions inside the facility.
They only brought a meal once a day, and it had maggots. They never take off the lights for 24 hours. The mosquitoes are as big as elephants.
During the call, La Figura passes the phone to other detainees who describe their experience.
They're not respecting our human rights. We're human beings. We're not dogs. We're like rats in an experiment. I don't know their motive for doing this. If it's a form of torture, a lot of us have our residency documents and we don't understand why we're here.
Another man who's
That was a. Thank you for pulling that up so quickly. I was going to summarize it, but hearing from them, in particular, is obviously important. And you hear there that they're clearly just borrowing from CCOT and applying those tactics to the United States, particularly the keeping the lights on, blaring 24 hours a day. We knew that CCOT did that, and then it was confirmed in Kilmar Abrego Garcia's account through his lawyer when he's making his case right now in court. And that is the amount of violations of our civil rights as enshrined in the Constitution here cannot be overstated, but it's cruel and unusual punishment, and there hasn't even been convictions. Like there's a habeas corpus violation. Even if these folks were convicted of the most heinous crimes, the conditions that they're in would be described as cruel and unusual punishment under our Constitution.
Alex DeLuca reports since January, at least 11 people have died in ICE custody nationwide. 5 of those, at least, were in Florida. And this whole Alligator Alcatraz thing, all the people that think that's funny will also think it's funny if that turns into Alligator Auschwitz. And this is how death camps could start in this country. This is the trajectory they would follow. This stuff needs to be shut down while it's still in a grift and has only violated a few people's rights. But you'll see more deaths and, more grift and millions of dollars towards, just a stain on this country we hope to never see.
We're not even talking about who's getting rich off of this.
Yeah, it's like GEO Group. Disgusting.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.